Hello, everyone. It is a great opportunity once again to be back on your wonderful favorite TV show, and that is The Citizens. My name is Mike Adekunle. It is my utmost pleasure to appear again with you on this wonderful program. It is a program that gets you abreast with informations and knowledge you need to have as concerning politics, governance, and you as being the citizen of Nigeria and the citizen of any country, whichever country you find yourself, because the onus is on us, the responsibility is on us as an individual and as a law-abiding citizen of any country, any region we find ourselves, to contribute our own quota to the betterment of the location of wherever we are, because this is the earth that the Lord has given to us that we must govern. The Bible says that heavens belongs to God. That is where he is, and the earth he has given to us, his own children. So as being the children of God here on earth, we must make sure we govern and we govern rightly. As I always say on this program, problems of leadership is not actually from the leadership, is from also the followership, because every leader you have today is from the followers. So no leader jumps up to become a leader. He or she must have started as being a follower. So if you are a good follower, I can assure you, you can be a good leader. So let me stop it there. As today, as God helping us, we are going to be looking at education policy and reforms in Nigeria. Education sector in Nigeria is one of the pivots of progress and development in any nation, in any country, Nigeria inclusive. And we want to look at some of the things we need to know, some of the things we need to get ourselves informed with, about, as concerning Nigeria relating to the education sector, because it's very, very important. There is a popular proverb. I don't know whether an English proverb now, or a Chinese proverb, or a Nigerian proverb, which says, anyone who opens a school closes the door to the prison. That tells you the importance of education. If you educate your populace, if you educate your citizen, it has a way of having a very great impact on the social well-being of that country. So, today, I have with me on the program a scholar by the grace of God, also a pastor, an individual who is the rector of Redeemer's College of Technology and Management, RCCG Polytechnic. Yeah, let me put it that way so that you understand, to the glory of God, RCCG, is also leading when it comes to education. In RCCG across Nigeria, even outside Nigeria, we have secondary schools, primary schools, tertiary institutions, talk of polytechnics and university. So, but today I am with the rector of RECTEM. They call it RECTEM, Redeemer's College of Technology and Management, in person of Dr. Pastor Mrs. Stella Mofunaya. Good to have you with us, ma'am.
Thank you for having me, Pastor Mike.
Thank you. Really appreciate your time with us.
You.
We're supposed to have had this interview some couple of days or weeks ago, but
right.
For reason of schedules and here and there. And thank you for giving us your time at this time. And I think this is the perfect time.
You're most welcome.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, like I said earlier, education sector, it's a sector personally I'm very, very passionate about, because I have this education background, setting out as an educationist, I so much fall in love with education, and it's very, very key. And it's one aspect of Nigerian sectors that I put my searchlight and I show so much interest in, because it's the background, is the hallmark of whatever development or achievement we can talk about as a nation. So as I start off with you, I'd like you to give us an overview of opinion, your own opinion as regarding the education sector in Nigeria. Telling us, you are older than I do, and you've been here, before us. So tell us, how was it? Where are we coming from? where are we right now? And can you foretell where possibly we might be heading towards as regarding education in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. Let's go back, like you said, days of our parents, grandparents. There was no corruption. That's the problem we are having now with education and sector. Just like every sector has to do with corruption.
Yeah.
They had the right people in the classrooms. Those days, they call it Standard 6, Primary 6.
Okay.
Someone in Standard 6 or graduated from Standard 6, that is the primary school,
Okay.
could read and write very well. In fact, Primary 1 could read and write very well. Then they had, even my generation, we had writing in schools then.
Okay.
I don't know if they have it now. I went through a boarding school then, and even how to handle your book. We were taught how to hold our books. If you're reading, there's a pattern. They taught us, you know, when during the scramble and partition of West Africa, when the missionaries came, they laid down those rules. You don't use one hand to hold your book, depending on how bulky the book you're carrying. I knew that my mom was my first teacher then. And my mom stopped at Form 1. It was Form those days. Stopped at Form 1 because she had to marry. But my mom could read and write very well.
Despite the fact that she stopped at Form 1.
Form 1. But now as we go on, I'm going to be speaking about where we were and where we are now. But you discover that you have students in JS3, they cannot even read very well and write very well. And then in boarding house those days, we're having food almost free. I went through a convent school though, but my elder ones went through government schools.
Okay.
And they could have chicken.
So you were part of those generations.
Oh, yes, I enjoyed. I enjoyed my school setting. Mine was a missionary school.
Okay.
And there was no corruption. We had the right English teachers, had the right maths teachers. But what do we have now? You have someone that studied Yoruba teaching maths, for instance, or someone that studied Igbo or Efik language teaching English in school.
I even heard that in those days, foreigners, they come to school here in Nigeria. As we are, you know, going out now for studies abroad.
Yes.
They were coming in here to study.
Yes, I had Indians.
With you in the class?
With me in my school, my secondary school. I had Indians, and they were excited. We had lots of exchange programs. People in Ghana, neighboring African countries, they were all sending their children here to learn.
Wow.
But the reverse is the case now.
Where did we miss it?
Corruption. Having the wrong people. We had, like I had a Ghanaian teacher as one of my teachers. It's corruption. Want compromise. Wanting to assist our brethren. Oh, this is my great-grandfather's friend. Oh, this is a family friend's daughter. She can read and write. And then you now have somebody that read geography, teaching English. Just like we had someone that read, well, let us not go there when we get there. So with our parents and my generation, it was fun to go to school. Their generation started with slate. You know, slate, they carry board. I met them using it. You dare not do your assignment and get to school. They will flog you. But now, we see in social media, parents kicking against it, that you should not beat their children.
Yeah, discipline in those days is nothing to be compared to what we have right now.
Yes, there was discipline. I faced it. I tell my students, is part of me that I cannot forget. The day my parents were taking me to school, we got late to the boarding house, and they shut the doors. And we spent about 4 or 5 hours to get to the school.
Okay.
They refused. And they did not compromise. And because of that, my mom, it was late for her that night. We got a place Luckily, we ran into a distant relation, and I put up with them the punishment for 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yes.
You were not allowed in for 6 months?
No, because I got late to school.
Oh, wow.
And during visiting hours or days, there are rules and regulations that you dare not flaunt. We didn't have CCTV, but we obeyed. You know, when you're leaving, your parents will tell you, know the child of who you are.
Yeah, in those days, people still value names, family names, and want to keep them.
Yes, and that helped us in education. Because when you're going, your parents will tell you off or visit. Okay, there are days for off. We that were in boarding, some could go with their friends, and they tell you, you dare not go out, go to anybody's house. But what do we have? Students jumping fence. And like I was still telling some of my students at Rectum, that there's a lady that after the Reverend Sister admonished us, devotion, don't go out, don't do anything ungodly. We grew up with the fear of God, even with our education. And if you're not good in a particular subject, you still have somebody that you prayerfully will become your friend, and they will put you through.
They will guide you.
Yes, they will guide you. Those students, those days that violated the rules and regulations of the schools, they paid dearly for it. And 4 of them decided to go out for parties. Whatever is happening now happened then.
Okay.
They went out for parties, they had 2 parties. And on their way back, one, they will call it barbed wire those days, got injured. And the other one that was jumping the fence, the wire cut her neck, her vein. Till date, that scar is there.
Wow.
And of course, those people that would have loved to do what they did not, because that fear was there. And then when you're going out, like I said, they tell you, know the child of who you are. You don't misbehave. You don't show your cleavage. You don't go and cut your long skirt, school uniform to short,
to a mini one.
Yeah, to a mini one, because there's someone somewhere that will see you and talk to you.
You know, like they say, these are proverbs that were relevant then. I don't know where they're still relevant now. That it takes
a whole nation.
Yeah, it takes a family to give birth to a child, but it takes a whole city, a whole village to raise such a child. So, meaning, you know, your child, people can still contribute to the development, to the training of a child. But these days, me and my family, you dare not interfere. You know, interfere with my.
And then there's this book our parents use. You know, these days there's no reading culture. We've lost it. Growing up from nursery school, we had the Queen Premier. And then my parents
so
used it.
Those books have been since
Queen Premier.
Yeah.
I go up I go. Clap your hands, this, that. Wow. And then, like, I can remember some of the literature books I read. We read lots of literature books, Chinua Achebe's books. I remember Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, if one has time, is something one can turn to a religious book. Yeah. The reading culture was there.
I still remember very well Arrows of God. You know,
yes.
Literature book.
Eze goes to school.
Yeah.
So many like
but
that.
What do you have to say about the advent of technology right now? You know, impacting some of these things? Because library right now, I was in, okay, don't let me mention the state, but I was in a particular state in southwest Nigeria, and I saw a signboard showing public library. The signboard practically dilapidating. So, but seeing the signboard, I said, wow, so this town, they still have library. And as my vehicle approached the site, the whole library, bush, covered with bush. I said, hey, library covered with bush. So now we don't even have functional libraries anymore, you know.
It's sad. Growing up, of course, we're introduced to library. You must read.
You must read.
It's compulsory. You must read, because when you get back, you have to recite at least 5 chapters of your literature book. I knew then that I received Beacon. There was a particular page, Julius Caesar, that friends, Romans, lend me your ears. I've come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. I can go.
You see, have all that in your mind up
I
till
still have
now.
all that. Because if you receive, you will get cane. And I didn't want to be flogged. Yes, social media has come to stay. When I was going to school, we were introduced to library. And about 20 years ago, they introduced private library.
Okay.
Even when I went for PhD, I was using library. I could read, just like ministry.
Yes.
You now discover that what, I'm sorry, some pastors do now is just to download already prepared material. It's not the same. We discovered that our general overseer, Daddy Gio, he still carries his note.
Yes.
Yes, social media is good, but it came with lots of disadvantages. I tell you, an encounter we had, coding. Now we've lost 5 students after, while they were in ND2. They have refused to come back or go to any other institution. Because when they finish with their ND, they go for direct entry. And the boy told me, Mommy, school is scam, Joe. He's making 5 million monthly, working remotely. I said, whether you like it or not, you are a dropout. He said, Mommy.
Now, I wanted to take you towards that route before. So let's talk about it now. Now that you have mentioned it. Now, the popular belief out there, which I believe is maybe like an erroneous belief, that school is a scam. And a popular pastor came up on social media recently saying schools these days, like talking about Nigeria right now, that what your children will need for life, many of them are not being taught again in school. So it's like the school system these days now made it real to the children that school is a scam, because they are not what our world is turning to, what our world will need in the next 15, 30 years right now. They are not being taught in school. So if I graduate right now, probably as in whatever field, for example, medicine, I graduate as a doctor, and in the next 15 years, a robot is taking up my job, what I studied. And I don't know anything about robotic engineering, robotic manipulation and all that. So where do I fit in? So is school not a scam?
Thank you very much. Here in Ogun State, at a program organized, by National Board for Technical Education. A well-read fellow got up to say, school is a scam. And it didn't go down well with me. I responded. Oh,
somebody said that in your midst?
Yes, gathering of who is who in academics. And I got up and I refuted it. I said, school is not a scam. Now, federal government, they introduce skills in all institutions. And we started learning skills in my secondary school. Yes, it's nothing new. It depends on the school your child is attending, but federal government, they have made it compulsory that you must acquire a skill before you leave school. And part of the examples I gave them is Megbokwe, no leftover.
Which one is that?
Megbokwe, no leftover, is a Nigerian that had challenges, and she didn't have money, and she started selling moi. An educated lady, I can't remember, her name is Megbo, but the name of her company is No Leftover. You can Google later. We've met several times. She started selling moi at Ikoyi Corona. She started at the gate, not far away from the gate. And her moi, because she's educated, she packaged the moi very well. And her moi took her to White House. The day I bought the moi, I told myself, I said, this is just packaging. You cannot resist it. The moi I cook would have been better than that moi. But because she's educated, she packaged it very well. Now you go to departmental stores, or what we call supermarkets here in Nigeria, the crayfish and okra that the local women that are not so enlightened, the way they display their words is not the way an educated person will. We have lawyers in the bank. We have our former head of service was a dental surgeon. So it depends on you. The skills are there. School is not a scam.
You know, I told you I'm very passionate about education. And I want to say this, correct me if I'm wrong. I think our education should be intentionally focused on what education should address. That is the mind and the hands, skills and transformation of the mind. Because if a child goes to school, count the years, no matter the years, and the mind of such a child is not actually transformed, will still come out to still tell you, what did I gain? What have I gone to school to do? Because if a mind is transformed and hands are empowered, a graduate today will not still be looking for a job.
It's because they
consider possibly that schooling is a scam, because after school, what next? No job.
It's because while in school, they were stubborn. They were running away from their classes. That is the truth. I speak this for both the state and federal government because it was introduced and now it is compulsory. Before you graduate, I speak more for Polytechnic, which of course I'm heading. You must graduate with at least 2 different or 3 certificates. And in most institutions like Yabatech, where I was for so many years, they had their days for marketing. Rectem is on Fridays. You must specialize in a skill, and we give you every Friday to market, sell your products. So right now, even students of Rectem are making money.
Let's talk about Rectem. Let's do it. So can you tell us, this issue we are talking about, I pray time will permit us, it's a lot, you know, this we are talking about, but then tell us, what is the template you are running to prove to me and to our viewers, younger generations, that education, schooling is not a scam? So what is the template you are running? What are the skills you are talking about? You know.
1, parents must be involved. It's not everyone that should come up with a degree. And because ours is a faith-based institution, we discover them within 1 year. And we invite their parents, come, this boy, you want him to go to school. Okay, why don't we introduce this child to our skills acquisition center? We have skills acquisition center or the entrepreneurship center to learn a skill. And then I ask them one-on-one, I take them up. Tell me, you dream. Some will tell you
as a rector, you still have time for all this.
Sure. That is why I'm here as a pastor. You dream, some will tell you, yes. I still take classes because I was the head of a Yabatech Skill Acquisition Center before I came here. I'm multi-talented.
Wow.
Yeah, so I still teach. Do you dream? Do you see yourself doing something? Someone will say, yes, so I love to fix hair. Sometimes parents force their children to go to school.
Every parent wants his or her child to be doctors, lawyers, and
yes. I was almost a victim. Dr. Roberts is a graduate. What is he doing? Dr. Roberts, he bakes and he's making a lot of money. It's good for them to have that first degree. Encourage them to go to school. What I do, yes, you just have to graduate. You need this certificate. If it's cake making, baking of cake, pastries, you want to go into, it's fine. Some will tell you cosmetology, and I'm in a position to advise them. School is not a scam. You must be educated. So when I invite their parents, I say, come, we are going to back this child up with prayers. Some I send them to the prayer house with their parents. Some I say, go to Open Heaven House, go to Daddy Gio's prayer room and go and kneel down. We had a child that came in that could not assimilate. The guy graduated with 2 skills, Rectem. So parents must be involved. But school is not a scam because there's a lady, Sweet Sensation. She's a graduate. An accountant. Most of the eateries you have, they are educated. If they are not educated, it will be different. The Amala zone that we have that abroad, she's everywhere. She's educated. So we need education. Sometimes in some skills, some will tell you, my mother did not go to school and she's a good caterer. What of the packaging and presentation? If you are a caterer, what of the presentation? There is no way a lady that bakes in the village will display her cakes or pastries the way an educated person will.
This issue, we need to come back on it because we are due for a break right now. But then we need to let our viewers know education or schooling is not a scam. Those who are saying schooling is not a scam and they are dropping out, they will get to bank and say, please, uncle, can you help me free teller?
Correct.
We shall be back.
Tell them stamp.
Use your thumb. We shall be back after this short time out. Welcome to a platform for a robust, inspiring, and engaging conversation in the world of politics and governance, business, education, and more, and concerning you as a citizen and your civic responsibilities. Watch The Citizen on Dove Television at 1 p.m. every Tuesday, West African time, and a repeat broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. The Citizen, we are all in this together. You welcome back. It's still The Citizen on Dove Television, and I've been here, having wonderful conversation, which I believe that you are enjoying and you are learning through it with Dr. Pastor Mrs. Stella Mofunaya, Rector, Rectem, Redeemer's College of Technology and Management, situated here at Redemption City of God. Thank you so much for your time once again, ma.
Thank you very much.
Before we went on the break, we were actually establishing the fact that schooling is not a scam. Whatever you want to do, now she has not spoken against the fact that you can be whatever you want to be, but then there is need for an educational background. You just need to be educated so that whatever you want to do will be on a very solid foundation. And I corroborated what she said by saying that if you allow education to transform your mind, and you can allow education to equip your hands to empower you with one skill or the other, I think it will all be good, at the end of the day. So now we're looking at Rectem as a template to the world, because there are some of the things you said that are very, very germane. And my worry had been, or my concern had been, some of these things are happening because it's a private sector, it's a faith-based. Can some of these things be replicated in the public schools, like prayers, personal one-on-one counseling? Like I ask you that you being a rector still have, time to engage students one-on-one. Can some of these things be replicated in the public schools?
It depends on the head of the institution.
Okay.
Yes. And I know that we tried that while I was in Yabatech. I was doing it. Of course, I had to lead by example. I always tell myself what will be my testimony if I'm not getting it right. So it can be done. And to the glory of God, you talk of Ron, our own university, Rectem, we are doing it. Because where you have youths, you need God.
Yes.
To guide them.
And I think it's all about the fear of God. Whoever you are, wherever, whether in public or in private, if you have the fear of God and you can lead with the fear of God, I think we'll do the right thing. We'll do the right thing. So briefly on Rectem. So honestly, you've captivated my mind.
Thank you.
With what you are doing there, and I'm very proud of that. But then, so how do we get into your school? Anyone seeking admission, getting into your school? And I also know that you have certificates for politics and governance in that school as well, in addition to skills and all that. You even talked about the fact that you allow your students to sell.
Yes.
So please tell us more.
Yes, we allow them, not just allowing them, we teach them how to make money.
Okay.
I use myself as an example to them. I told them that by the time I went back to school, I had a car.
Okay.
Because I started doing business at 12.
Wow.
My parents allowed me because there was skills in the secondary school I attended. So at 12, it was a tough one,
Okay.
but they allowed me and, of course, encouraged me to go to school, which is what we are doing in Rectem. No student of Rectem will graduate and be looking for a job. Rather, they will be employers of labor. Some of them, I tell them, okay, I advise them, probably you should work for a year or two before establishing your business so that you can learn a lot of things. But those are the things that we even introduce. We introduce marketing, business administration, how to manage your business, factors to consider when citing your company. If you have, for instance, 2 million, you're not going to Ireland Avenue, you're not going to Victoria Island, what to do if you have quality control. No matter where you are, like Marks and Spencer, over 50 years in America, they are still there. Tommy Hilfiger, over so many years, they are still there. So we teach them not to compromise, because that is a problem, I'm sorry, we have in some institutions in Nigeria where you don't have the right people teaching them, and you cannot give what you don't have. My students and staff, they are enjoying it because I have it. If you talk of getting, in fact, we have a course where we teach them under marketing, purchasing. The cheapest market in Nigeria.
How do you get them? How do you price?
Well, yes, pricing, costing, budgeting. I started my teaching career in Indian language school, so I learned a lot of their Ijebu.
Wow.
How to be prudent. I also learned that with my parents. My dad did not depend on one source of income. And that is what Nigerians should aim at. You don't depend on one source of income. So I told them that in Lagos, you go to Akpongbo, things are cheap, depending on what you want to buy. And then we have a place, I tell them it's called Koro. Koro. We call it Gurodom. What you buy at 2,000 at Akpongbo, you get it at as low as 1.5 or 1.6, depending on your bargain. And as Christians in this nation, when men are saying there's a casting down, we will always say it's a lifting up, because we don't have one source of income. We are utilizing the gift that God has given to us. So at Rectem, our children are happy. And for admission, it's the same thing with public institutions. Your maths and English has been compulsory. And now that the policy has favored us again, because a lot of them came in of course, people are coming in because of the environment of camp. Zero tolerance to cultism, no smoking. The 16 years has been waived. We can accept them up to August 2025. So we are following all the policies of federal government, and to the glory of God, the rector, your humble self of Redeemer's College of Technology, is the person representing all private polytechnics in Nigeria. So I'm on the board of, we call it co-heads, rectors in polytechnic, where you have private, state, and private, state, and federal government. So I'm on that board. And we're there. I was privileged to be there when we met with the Minister for Education. He came up. And of course, over 90% of us, if not 100%, kicked against it. But he said no.
What was his intention? Because I like to look at things holistically. Now, he came up, the Minister of Education in Nigeria came up to say, okay, we are not going to be admitting children into higher learnings of institutions until they are 18. What did he see to have mentioned such a policy?
The common saying that you don't say everything you see. Well, the common view is because of maturity. They need to be matured. But you know that my generation, I left secondary school at 17, almost 17, 16 plus. And then we are looking at cultism. We didn't have it then. It wasn't bad. My parents didn't have it. Even when they introduced the Wale Soyinka introduced their own fraternity, their groups, it wasn't this bad. But unfortunately, the younger ones are easier to tame. From my own experience, they are easier raw from school. Like we do at Rectum every Wednesday, we have joint devotion with them, where we also pray with them, lead them to deliverance. For deliverance, and invite other pastors ministers of God, and anyone that needs that one-on-one touch, we direct them to the appropriate quarters. Reverse is the case, because the older ones, they have been formed.
Yes.
Some of them left other institutions where they have been rusticated and they came in, drugs. Some of them, parents need to be involved in their children's education. I won't mention the name of the institution, but unfortunately, well, a private university, a boy committed suicide.
Wow.
The father is working in a big company. Of course, I won't mention the company. The father was not involved. Before the boy died, he told the parents, yes, he had it rosy growing up, even in the school, but that the parents did not know him. At Rectum, we discovered the parents did not know that their neighbor was, we had children from the same parents, and their neighbor was abusing the girl. And another neighbor was abusing the boy. But he took prayers and they opened up. The mother was weeping in my office. So in our children's education, we must be involved.
And I think it's about involvement. And I want us to go back to so many things. You have said a lot, but I would like us to take them one after the other. Now, the issue of the policy of 18 years old of being admitted into school has been, a step down.
Not necessarily, if you don't mind, so that one will not misquote them. In a minute, I want to read out something that was sent to us from the Ministry of True Via Education, Joint Admission and Matriculations. Yes, so that we get it right. And because of our viewers, I'm not going to read everything, not 16 years. I'm going to second paragraph. The board has taken cognizance that due to different reasons, some institutions expect the 2024-2025 admission to run through 2025, that is July 2025, without compromising the standard or infringing on the individual institutions. And I want to go down. The board has now decided to allow any willing institution to admit candidates who will be 16 years old by the 31st of August 2025. Initially, it was no for 16, but now they've extended it. So the clause for 18 is still there. Unfortunately, here in Nigeria, before now, we had children graduating at 20, at 21, and they are doing very well.
Now, the issue now is, see, policymakers will have to think through and really be on top of their games, because right now, if you say a child should not go to school at 16 until that child is 18, and institutions, companies, organizations who are employing outside, they will tell you, we want to employ someone who is between 23 and 27.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, so where do you now marry, the two? My child is still in school at 23. At 27, by the time we finish in school, you are telling me that child is no longer employable because of age. So where do you now marry it? And the education sector is telling me my child cannot come to school until so time. So it's a whole lot that policymakers will have to, sit around the tables to look through.
Yeah, all we can do is to pray for them. The minister has done fantastically well, because I know that we had to go on break. It was a tough one, taking that decision. And I knew as a minister who has listening ear, we have met, and we are believing God that God will touch him, because I've had parents coming to us at Rectum, particularly for girl child. Some of them
you know, their stature, the stature of a girl's child.
Yes.
Yeah.
The man said, look at my 16-year-old daughter.
Looking
I
like
just
20.
want her to be under Daddy Jill's care. Because coming to Rectem, they know that Daddy lives here, that they don't want that child to be at home. That most of them have registered their children under the skills till they are 18. But
of course, I will support that if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong, rather. Because if for example, I finished from secondary school at 16, I wrote my WAEC at 16. Now, if you are telling me now or telling my child to wait until he or she is 18, so what would that child be doing? And I think it's a good one, even at that time. When at that time, I think, I've forgotten many things right now, but immediately I was done with my WAEC at 16. My father enrolled me in a college, you know, a preliminary college that equipped me till I'm talking about, till I'm talking to you right now, a very strong skill. So I think parents can leverage on that window of about 2 years or a year to engage the children in one skill or the other before getting into school.
Yes, particularly at Rectem, the doors are open. We even have hostel accommodation for them.
For them, you see.
And they can come during our academic calendar. Like some parents, like I said, really in tears, pleading that they will not go, that we should assist them, rather than keeping those children at home. If it's not too much for them, if you live within here where we have students coming from the northern part of the nation, it's good to keep them busy, but you have to be sure. Like I said, parents should be involved. Not all that glitters are good. Where is that place you're sending your daughter to learn skills? We hear of gay. We hear of abuse. Abuse wasn't as bad as it is now. So you have to be sure of the institution and where you're sending your children to. But we are preaching Rectem and Redemption City of God. Bring your children, they are covered, there's accommodation for them. We have over 15 skills and we have qualified
hands. You know, handling them. Now, I must sincerely thank you for your time and all we've been looking at. But then I want to take you on some certain notes. Why we've been having conversations, I penned down some major points that can be traced to the decadence we are experiencing in the education sector today. Talking about home front, parents not willing to getting involved in the education and well-being of their children as it used to be. Talk about indiscipline. Indiscipline these days now is on a very high side. Talk about corruption and compromise. Talk about nepotism, trying to favor one side over the other, putting a square peg in a round hole. So going forward, what do you think government should be doing deliberately now to addressing some of these things for a better tomorrow for our children?
Thank you very much. I want to start with National Board for Technical Education, which is in charge of polytechnic education in Nigeria. The new man, the executive secretary of that body, Professor Idris Bogaji, is doing a fantastic job. In fact, now they have a task force to monitor institutions to ensure that they implement the curriculums. And just last week, I was super excited that they have discovered during accreditation that there are institutions that have been there for over 60 years, even when they have the privilege of getting money from TED Fund, they don't have equipment.
Wow.
So task force is going out now, and then accreditation is now going to be done digitally.
Okay.
Yes, so you cannot escape from it. And again, for private institutions, they are doing well. And then I want to take us back again to home front. Social media. My parents taught me. I taught my children. I don't know of the next generation. As we speak, you get home, Daddy is busy on his phone, WhatsApp, YouTube.
I love what you said. Your mom taught you. You taught your own children. What is teaching our own children now? Social media
is fun.
Phone is teaching
social
them.
media that is teaching our children. I got to a family friend's house. I almost wept. The children were struggling with their assignment. Their father was busy with his phone. The mom was busy with her phone. And it wasn't like that when we were growing up. We saw to our parents saw to our assignments, and we saw to our children's assignments. So parents must be involved.
Yeah.
If they are involved, yes, for most institutions now have, particularly the faith-based ones, they have parents forum, just like we have at Rectum. Yes, government will come with policies. Policies are to be made again. Like I said, we keep praying for them that they will come up with the right policies. And I'm using this platform to plead with TED Fund, the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, to also include the private sectors, private institutions, because you go for conference, you're attending the same conference with them, they get as much as, it depends on the level, as much as 3 million free for an individual. And you're saying that, oh, we are from private institution. Rather, we are giving out. And they should encourage us. Now there is student loan scheme. I approached the executive secretary involved. Well, I know that with my father's prayer, all doors are usually open onto Rectum. We approached them and they're saying, okay, you hold on, very soon it will get to your turn. Same like TED Fund. How long will it take them? They should remember us.
Yeah, in fact, thank God you rounded off on the note of funding, because funding is another crucial aspect of education that we are not really looking at. Now, considering the budget for education in Nigerian budget right now, what Nigeria, what president, what the executives are budgeting for education, what's your opinion? What's your look as concerning that area? Are they doing well? Can they do more or less?
They are trying. They can do more, but do they have the right people to implement? They are also discouraged, some of them, because you have people assessing the loan and the loans are not utilized for what it's meant for. They should try the faith-based institutions and they will be glad. Because recently it was on the pages of newspaper, that should be last year. They didn't have to, if it's faith-based institution, they won't have to do that, calling out people. That so and so fund was released to you. You were supposed to have attended conference. You did not attend conference. That will not happen.
And that is the corruption we are still talking about. That is the
corruption we are talking about. If I'm your friend and I'm in an organization where I can access loan, it's easier, but in fairness to TED Fund, they are doing fantastically well. I wish that, like I told the ES recently, I said, let's have this the crumbs of what we don't need the bulk of what you're giving to them in federal government and state institutions. Just try Rectum with the crumbs, and you'll see what
we are going to do with it.
What we are going to do.
Yeah, I think you are in the right position to address it. I'm bringing it to your table straight away.
Okay.
Now, people believe that faith-based institutions, whether elementary schools, secondary or what have you, that those schools should be free. Since those schools are set up with offerings and tithes of members, and the children of members from those churches are not, can't attend those schools free. Can you tell us, are your schools run with tithe and offerings of RCCG? RCCG, the indigent students are on scholarship. So, please, I don't understand that.
Scholarships.
You mean children from RCCG members?
Yes, if you apply. Well, our Rectum is meant for all. We have people from all different faiths in RCC, in Rectum.
Yes.
But for RCCG members, if you're a pastor, you're a worker, you have your child in Ron or Rectum, there's scholarship. I don't know if they still run it in with Ron, but for Rectum, yes, the mission is funding them. Most of them are not aware. We are doing very well in that area. I don't think institutions should be totally free. I started teaching here in Nigeria, Indian language school, and to the glory of God, this profession has taken me to so many countries. I don't think it should be totally free. There must be an organization that will be funding them. If it is free, now we are talking of electricity. How do you pay the electricity bill? Well, in UK, even when you go to some shops, we have a £1 shop. US is $1 shop. There are rich men that are funding them. We should. That is why I recall that last week when I told them, just try my institution, not just my institution, the faith-based institutions, with just a little bit of the amount you spend, and they said, come, redeem, you have money. That is the problem we are having. You don't need money. You have all it takes to run your school. And that to the glory of God, they visited and they know that the equipments we have at Rectem, institutions that have been there for over 60, 70 years, they don't have them.
And that's the belief. They believe since you are Redeem affiliated institution, you have money. Where's the money coming from?
Well, let us not go there. Most of our parents attended free education. Is it free education? Awolowo?
Yes, Awolowo time.
Awolowo. There was discipline. Recall that when I started, I said, though mine was faith-based, secondary school, my other ones that went to secondary school, they were having free lunch because there was no corruption. There wasn't a caterer that chicken that is supposed to be about 50 for students is keeping 30 and they are giving 20 to students. Wow. They were having big chunks of meat, rice. They were having good food, good meal. It's corruption. And the moment, except we start implementing what is happening in China, Singapore, Malaysia, corruption will not stop. Dealing with corruption.
All right, that's we round off because of our time. I wish I have a longer hour, to spend with you. But on a conclusion, on a note of conclusion, as we round off, the issue of JAPA, the JAPA syndrome, people traveling abroad, over and over and over and over. And it comes to our academic line, talk about brain drain, So what's your opinion about this? Should our people still continuing eloping to other countries in its search of greener pastures? And how do we now manage, hands, capable hands, in our institutions?
Thank you very much. JAPA has been affected by every organization, including Rectem. But I tell the young ones, like I told my students that I will take them on excursion to the airport.
Okay.
You get to the airport, the Chinese are coming in, Filipinos are coming in, the Indians are coming into this nation.
Wow.
Why are they coming into Nigeria? We have a lot of things to tap on. If we talk of departmental stores, supermarkets, Banana Island, VI, they are owned by Chinese. Why should you live here? I'm sorry I have to mention, well, I don't need to mention their names. The rich men and women in Nigeria, their children are here.
They are not going out.
They are not going out. They study abroad and they come back here. All their children are here. Those ones that are living, yes, when we talk of brain drain, maybe we are looking at the medical line. Let's look at medical nursing. Yes, we are losing them because of the salary. We have also been affected. Most of them are going. But those ones that are going, I know some of them that wanted to come back, but they can no longer fit in.
Wow.
If you make billions every month, you will not earn respect that you will earn here in your own country.
You are still a second citizen there.
You are a second citizen over there. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Before the billionaires, their children are here and they are making it. Why do you have to go out there slavery? Well, they are making money over there. I won't blame them, but I'm admonishing and encouraging people to stay back and let us build our nation.
Let's build Nigeria together.
Yes.
Like my boss will say, well, if it is the Lord that is leading you to
I told my staff today I ended the devotion today. I said, if it is the will of God for you to japa, and I had resounding amen.
Well,
and if it's the will of God that you stay here, stay back here. But if you have to japa, do it the right way. Don't go by the sea, and your parents or family members will not hear from you.
You know, Nigeria is a very lovely country, and we are still passionate about Nigeria, believing that one day our dream country, we emerge.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Stella Mofuna. We really appreciate you. Rector, Redeemers College of Technology and Management here at Redemption City of God. Really appreciate you for
Thank
the
you
time
so
today.
much for having me. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Viewers, this is how far we can go on the program today. A special thanks to my producer and the entire crew behind the camera. My name is Mike Adekunle. I will see you next time on this same program, same day, same time. The Lord bless you. Bye, and God bless Nigeria.
Amen.